Now, if the money's right, I'm sure they'll both fight. And when they do fight, my opinion is...
Pro boxing fans here in Birmingham with Big Richard Sowers. How are you, sir? How's things?
Very good, thank you. Yourself?
All good, all good. So obviously part of the whole Kash Ali sets up the trainer to Kash Ali, who comes in a big fight against Joe Joyce. A lot of people have written off Kash after what happened against David Price, but we know he's been ticking in the background. For people that are not aware, just talk to us about Kash and what he's done post what people know him for.
Yeah, so since then he's become IBF European champion, boxing a good fight against Thomas Salek, I think it was, and then he's had a few fights after that. We've had a bad performance here, bad performance there, but nonetheless Kash has stayed on it, and as I've just explained to somebody, Kash is a consummate professional. So with regards to, you know, the bad write-ups and this and that, you're always going to get it. Brendan used to say to me, he'd say, Floyd Mayweather gets stick, what chance have we got?
That's a very good point, to be honest. Joe Joyce, a lot of people say in boxing timing can be everything. Do you feel like this is the right time for your man to sort of cause the upset, or was them two fights against Zhile Zhang for Joe Joyce just a fight against a possible bogeyman in the division?
Yeah, do you know what? Do you know, every fight has its different pros and cons, and I think, you know, you've got to give credit to Joe Joyce, same as you've got to give to Zhang, same as you've got to give to Kash. If you go into a heavyweight boxing ring in particular, you don't only suffer the danger of, you know, running out of steam, you don't only suffer the danger of not performing the best, but you suffer getting killed, you know, not just knocked out either. So it's a serious game, and Kash is taking Joe seriously, and I think Joe should take Kash seriously. He's done this a long time, so he probably is taking Kash seriously, and regardless of interviews, regardless of what he might have said before, I've got no doubt he's got the experience to take Kash seriously and understand that he's getting into a heavyweight boxing fight, which he's had many of. Just as Joe will take Kash seriously, as I say, Kash is taking Joe seriously, and we intend on going into the ring, doing what we've been doing for the last 10 weeks and taking it to the table and seeing what the outcome is. And that's all the fight is. You know, you're putting all your colours on one bet, and that's what we're doing. We're Muslims, we don't bet, we don't gamble, but it's just the terminology, the metaphor I'm using.
I do want to talk about sort of the rest of the heavyweight division. We saw Joe already post about a possible fight that he wants with Joseph Parker on Instagram. Do you feel like they are looking over your man in Kash Ali?
Yeah, to some extent they must be, and I think when you've got to the level that Joe Joyce has got to, and I've seen it in a few of my friends, very well known friends, heavyweight champions, that they've suffered the slip of complacency, let's say, every now and again, and it's just something of human nature. Every now and again you'll take your eye off the ball. If, you know, there has been any slips, then you'll probably see the result of that slip on Saturday night. But with regards to, you know, will Joe be boxing at this level, at this percentage? Will Kash be boxing at this percentage? You can't tell until that first bell goes. Then that's when we'll see what's going to happen.
I do want to move on and talk about the man of the hour right now, Anthony Joshua, who put in a brutal demolition job of Francis Ngannou. I do want to talk to you because you've actually been in camp with Anthony AJ back in the past. From when you were sparring him and when you were part of that team, do you see similarities to this AJ that we're seeing right now? Because they seem to be in between a little bit of a lull, you know, where people are saying AJ may have not been throwing his hands, or he was a bit too reserved with his approach. Do you feel like we're seeing that old AJ that you saw back in the day?
Not necessarily. I don't think the old AJ has gone anywhere. I think that each fight carries its own, like I said, pros and cons, and I think Joshua deserves credit for, number one, getting into the ring in the first place, number two, winning two world titles. You know, this is a two-time world champion, so if he's the man of the hour now, what was he when he won the world titles? He's always been the man of the hour because he's still in there. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned in boxing is it's how long you can last. If you're not taking shots, significant shots, especially at heavyweight, if you're not suffering significant damage and stuff like that, then you're still in there, you've always got a chance to win, because you can show up like a superstar on one night, but you can show up like a complete failure on another night. Brendan used to say, you're only as good as your last fight, and I never knew what it meant, but you can get into the ring with somebody you're supposed to run rings round and knock out straight away, and you don't. You can get into the ring with somebody that you're supposed to lose, you're supposed to fall, you're supposed to get knocked out by, and you can look like a superstar. So I think Joshua, you know, he's answered a lot of questions. He's had his little slips here and there. He's a human being. But one thing you've got to do is respect the guy, because the guy's gone through amateurs. He's gone the usual route. He's won a gold medal in the Olympics, turned professional, remained unbeaten for a long time, become a household name. Everybody around the world knows Anthony Joshua. To go in and box a guy in Ngannou, a big, strong African guy, what could put a fully grown bull to sleep with one jab, never mind a right hand. You've got to take your hat off to him. But let's not mistake, the guy's not a world level boxer. Yeah, he went in against Tyson Fury and yeah, held a good account of himself. But again, you're as good as your last fight. Tyson wasn't the Tyson that showed up against Deontay. Tyson, that fight, wasn't the fighter that showed up against all the other opponents that he beat. But again, it's a fight. You don't know what's going to happen until the time comes. Every heavyweight, including the top chalant ones, deserve respect. I've got respect for Joshua. I've got respect for Tyson. Whether, you know, that fight signifies, Joshua's last fight signifies whether he's the man of the hour or not, I don't know about that. But what I'd say is world level, and you can't look past it, because when you look past it, you get put on close to death, like Ngannou did. That weren't no joke. He got knocked out. We were out for a few minutes, and I hope that people take a lesson from that and look at that and say, you know what, we need to stop all this, you know, MMA fighters going into, it's all right going with Floyd Mayweather, I suppose, no discredit to that guy, he's amazing, probably best I've seen, but to going against Joshua, to going against Floyd Mayweather, there's a significant difference in a danger to your life.
Can I ask you then, because obviously you've been around these guys when they were coming up. In regards to Anthony Joshua, he seems like he's in a happy place, which makes him a dangerous fighter. They normally say a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter, and with Joshua, it does seem like that is the case now. Whilst he was looking for trainers in between, he seems to have found the right team that he's happy with. Does that fight now with Tyson Fury become a lot closer than it was maybe 18 months ago with AJ and Fury?
It all depends on these money guys. These guys are drawing money, and that's what they're fighting for. The prize fighters, they're fighting for money, they're fighting for recognition. But let's not mistake anything, you know, by saying, you know, is there more chance they're going to fight now? If the money's right, I'm sure they'll both fight. And when they do fight, my opinion is Tyson will run rings around Joshua. That's my opinion. Could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong many times before. But again, it'll be a good fight. They'll both get paid handsomely. And as I said before, they both deserve respect, because they're getting in there and they're risking their lives for people's entertainment. With regards to, you know, today's general consensus of, well, this guy kicked somebody's head off, so we can get in with Anthony Joshua and he's got a good chance of beating him. I'm not trying to be wise after the event, but when people asked me, I kind of found it a little bit insulting when people had asked me, what do you think's going to happen with Joshua and Ngannou? What do you think's going to happen? And I suppose that's to my discredit. I'm kind of over-anticipating people's perception of what a world-class fight actually is, world-class boxing fight actually is. And if you've not really done it, you can't expect people to look at it with an expert eye or a professional eye. You can't expect that. They're just spectating, a lot of the people with opinions. But when people ask me, what do you reckon? I try not to be disrespectul, but I just be like, well, what do you think's going to happen? You know, the guy's getting in with a world class pugilist. This guy can put you to sleep with either hands, and he's not the elusive type. He's not the Tyson Fury type to move and hit and move and hit. He's a manufactured, perfect, stereotypical boxer, and you've just seen what's happened. You put somebody in what's not used to being at that level in a boxing ring, and you've seen what's happened. I hope he's all right, and I hope he don't go into another fight like that.
I just found one. Obviously, you sport Tyson Fury, and you've seen what he's done from his from his style that he had back then. Do you feel like his style has changed a little bit since you were sparring him back then? He seems to be a bit more aggressive from what people say, and maybe a little bit more open though. Do you feel that is the case?
Yeah, definitely. Tyson's definitely stepped his game up. But one of the things I'd say for any fighter that has a level of success is Tyson's just stuck with it. And I remember him coming into the gym and me saying to him, you know, how do you find sparring with me, Tyson? He'd go, oh, you can punch, Richard, you're a hard punch. And at that time, I didn't believe I could punch, just for whatever reason it was. I just thought, I can't land, I can't really hurt people like that. And my record would say otherwise, but I'm just saying that, you know, you're always questioning yourself. So for these guys, what have stuck with it for the duration that they've stuck with it, I've got nothing but respect for him. Tyson's clearly stepped his game up. He's clearly a bit more imposing than what he first set out to be. He's had his setbacks. He's come back outside and inside the ring. He's come back, and you cannot deny, no matter how hard anybody tries, he's a household name. He's known in Africa. He's known in Australia. He's known all over the world. So what every fighter sets out to be as a professional pugilist, Tyson's accomplished, and you've got to take your hat off to him. You've got to take your hat off to the guy.
Final one, because you're old school, Mike Tyson coming back in the ring against Jake Paul. What do you make of that? A lot of mixed reaction when I ask people this question, but what do you make of that situation?
Yeah, I think Jake Paul's definitely giving good accounts of himself. He's clearly getting good preparation and stuff like that. To go in against a 60-year-old Mike Tyson, I find it very distasteful. I think if it pays Tyson a good handsome wage, he's a big man, he's a grown man, so he's made his own decision. If he wants to fight him, he'll take the fight. Who am I to dispute otherwise? I think it's definitely distasteful. You know, how old's Jake Paul? 30 years old, and he's going in to fight a 60-year-old man. I just think it's, like I said, distasteful. I think it's a discredit to the sport. It gets bums on seats, it gets an audience, obviously. But what type of audience it gets, I don't want to sound sour, but I don't want to see Mike Tyson get hurt, and I definitely don't want to see anybody get hurt. But I'm just saying to you, the likelihood is, if the laws of averages would have it, Tyson's success in a boxing ring, if he takes an element of that success into boxing Jake Paul, who was 10 years ago on Disney Channel, I think it's another repeat of what we've just seen. But he's not a young man; he's an older guy now. So I think Jake Paul's obviously, and Jake Paul's teams obviously know that. And I hope you know they're both safe, but it's not really my bag. I'll probably watch the after reels, but I won't be sat up or paying pay-per-view for it, because it's like I say, it's not a stereotypical old school competition, boxing competition.
Cool, Richard, it's been a pleasure. It's been a good 13 minutes of a chat. I appreciate your time as always. Always good seeing you back in the mix. It's the first time we've got to see you on a bigger scale. I know you've been doing these shows on the Fight Zone stuff and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, good luck with everything. We'll be seeing you on Saturday night, and we'll speak to you after that. Thank you very much, Richard. It's been a pleasure, mate.
Thank you. Cheers.